Created to meet Group B regulations for circuit racing, the Ferrari 288 GTO, that's Gran Turismo Omologato, was based on the then current Ferrari 308 GTB, but little of the original design remained by the end of homologation. Most of the steel body panels were replaced with fiberglass, Kevlar and carbon fibre to save weight and create the enormous flares needed to clear the much wider track and tyres. The wheelbase was stretched 110mm because the engine had been rotated from a transverse to a longitudinal placement. The GTO's V8 was actually a reduction in capacity compared to the 308 GTB, dropping to 2.85 litres, which allowed it to be turbocharged under FIA equivalency rules. But the end of Group B meant that the car never competed. 272 lucky road car owners, including Niki Lauda, Keke Rosberg, Eddie Irvine and Michele Alboreto, were able to enjoy the 400 horsepower, 5-second 0 to 60 mile an hour time and 189 mile per hour top speed. What do you do when Mercedes declines to build the concept car you designed for them? Build it yourself, of course, for a handful of very rich owners. Eberhard Schultz was a design and engineering consultant for both Mercedes and Porsche, and decided to use parts from both companies to create his interpretation of Mercedes' experimental C111 cars. The resulting CW311, named after the car's drag coefficient, used Porsche 911 steering, Porsche 928 suspension, and the M100 engine from the famed Mercedes-Benz 450 SEL 6.9. Amazingly, Mercedes gave Schultz the green light to manufacture the car under his own ISDERA brand, and even sold him its 5-litre V8 for the car. The Imperator featured side-exit exhausts, gull-wing doors, and a roof-mounted periscope in place of a rear-view mirror. Its slippery shape helped it to 176 mph top speed. Not bad for 1984. A super and turbocharged mid-mounted engine, cutting-edge four-wheel drive system, space frame chassis, double wishbones all round, carbon fibre and Kevlar construction, and bigger side scoops than a Countach. Of course the Lancia Delta S4 is a supercar. Built to Group B World Rally Championship rules, 200 Stradale or road-going versions were made for homologation purposes. The car's 1.8-litre engine was much detuned from competition trim, halving its 500 horsepower output, although legend has it that on 5 bar of boost it could produce 1,000. While this more than doubled the 0 to 60 mph time to 6 seconds and dropped the top speed to 140 miles an hour, the Delta S4 could do it all on gravel. Your move, F40. Another project left out in the cold after the cancellation of Group B, the Porsche 959 ended up having a huge influence on future Stuttgart models. The car was the brainchild of Porsche's chief engineer, Helmut Bott, who convinced managing director Peter Schutz that Group B rallying would be the perfect testbed for technologies for future 911s. The 2.8-litre flat 6 was taken directly from the Porsche 956 and 962 Group C cars and then received twin sequential turbochargers. The four-wheel drive system could dynamically vary the torque between axles and automatically adjust the ride height to optimise the aerodynamics. Even more exotic were the aluminium and Kevlar body panels, Nomex floor and hollow-spoked magnesium wheels which formed one large air chamber with the tyres. Debuting too late to compete in Group B, the 959 took on the 1986 Dakar Rally instead, finishing first, second and sixth. The story of the GIOCATTOLO Group 2 is one of sheer bloody-mindedness. Well, it is Australian, and yes, again Group B was involved. Sydney exotic car dealer Paul Halstead caught wind of Alfa Romeo's stillborn Group B project, an Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud Sprint with a mid-mounted Busso V6 driving the rear wheels. Correctly deducing that this sounded amazing, Halstead asked Alfa Romeo for permission to create his own version for the Australian market. Alfa not only turned him down, but refused to supply him with donor cars or engines. Instead, he imported road-legal sprints from New Zealand, replacing their front-wheel drivetrains with mid-mounted Tom Walkinshaw-tuned Holden 5-litre V8s and a ZF transaxle. The bodywork was also binned, replaced with Kevlar panels. Just 15 were built before the Queensland government called in the loans it had provided to build the GIOCATTOLO factory. Supercars don't generally do subtle, but there is little to distinguish the RUF CTR from a regular non-turbo Porsche 911 of the era. But just watch the company's film Fascination on the Nürburgring, where test driver Stefan Rosa absolutely drives the Speedline alloys off it in some very 80s loafers, and it's pretty obvious that this is no standard Carrera. The CTR's bodywork was mostly replaced with aluminium panels to lower weight and de-guttered for better airflow. The standard flat six was bored out to 3.4 litres and gained a Porsche 962 ignition setup and 2 turbochargers, bringing power up to a very conservatively estimated 463 horsepower. Apocryphally, it was the chirping of the blow-off valve which gave the car its nickname. A 0-60 mph time of well under 4 seconds matched the Porsche 959, but the CTR beat it on top speed at 213 miles an hour, making it the fastest car in the world. The Vector was a passion project of automotive engineer Gerald Weigart, who wanted to design and build an all-American supercar to take on Europe. By the time it entered what could loosely be termed production, the car had a 6-litre racing engine with twin turbos. Driver adjustable boost could alter its output from 625 horsepower to 1,200, feeding through a heavily strengthened 3-speed GM turbo hydromatic automatic transmission. Vector described the W8 as aeromotive engineering. Its semi-monocoque chassis was made of aircraft-grade aluminium and bonded and riveted together before being covered in carbon fibre and Kevlar panels. In keeping, the interior featured 4 display screens to monitor key systems arranged around the driver in the manner of a fighter jet cockpit. In testing, the W8 prototype achieved a paltry 242 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats, the same top speed as a McLaren F1.